Welcome to another edition of Wings Weekly. Jay Kleinknecht here and head coach Scott Langer joining us once again. Coach, boy, 3 games in 3 nights in 3 cities, 3 buildings, and you come away with 16 goals versus 3 of your opponents over the course of the weekend. We start on Thursday in Minot, a 7-2 win for the Wings. Maybe a little bit of a rough start. They get up to a 2-0 lead, but man, whatever happened in the locker room in between the first and second period, they came out like an entirely different team. In the next 2 periods, it was all Wings. What were your thoughts of starting things out there at the Mesa Ice Arena in Minot?
Well, it sure wasn't the way we wanted that whole trip to start out, you know. But the positive about that whole thing is the way our guys responded after that first period, because it's really easy to get down, especially when we put a lot into that week, knowing that our preparation had to be good, and you know our daily itinerary had to be really on spot in order for us to be successful. So before you know it, we're down 2-0, but our guys just, you know, again, you got to look back at the leadership that's in that locker room and the way they came out and had probably one of the best periods we've had in a real long time as far as playing 200 feet and the way we defended, and on the other side, the plays we made in order to score.
You know, it was interesting that you mentioned that, you know, coming out, the leadership and so on. It was almost as though, I don't know, it was a statement kind of piece to me. Like, they came out like, wait a minute, this isn't happening. This isn't going to happen to this Wings team. You know, they just came out and kind of took control. It ended up, as I mentioned, 7-2 win Thursday. Then you move on, travel down to Bismarck, take on the Bobcats Friday night at the VFW Center, and a 7-1 win there. And again, a solid game end to end. Another really good defensive game. Dominic Wasik in goal did a great job defensively in front of him. Guys were making plays, blocking shots. But then it turns, you know, that transition, I should say, that you guys are so good at, turning defense into offense. It was another big win on Friday night. Yeah, you know, Friday night was.
I was sitting on the bench rolling the lines, and things were just taking care of themselves. It was just one of those games where our guys were going, they were making plays. The goaltending was excellent. You know, Was had to make some really big saves at times through traffic, but he handled them with ease, and there was just a calm on the bench, and you know, we just rolled.
Yeah.
We just rolled, and things were clicking again, making plays. And when you make more plays than the opposition, your chances are good that you're going to win. And again, that was 3. That was an entire game effort. We didn't start slow, which I thought we might, you know, just with the way the travel was going. But they really surprised me the way they came out of the gates.
Well, and we've talked on many occasions about the depth of this team, but you know, to have your fourth line essentially create the goals and the scoring opportunities that they had, where Goldowski comes up away with a hat trick, 4 goals over the course of the 3 games, and boy, some guys really stepped into some roles. I shouldn't even say that. It's not even really stepping into roles or filling holes, because it just seems like on any given night it can be anybody, can't it?
Well, it's the only reason why we had the 3-game success that we had, is that we do have the depth, and you know, that line's not really a fourth line.
Yes,
I mean, they may be listed on the lineup sheet as the fourth line, but they've been one of our go-to lines now for a good portion of the last month or so, with, you know, Will Arquette and Reed and even Mann stepping in on that line, and Jackson Yee, and they've kind of done it with multiple pieces. But you know, Goldowski, you know, that's the reason why we brought Jake in, right there. The maturity and knowing that when things are tough and stacked against you a little bit, that he's going to surface, and he does, and he did, and he had a terrific weekend. Obviously, I think he ended up with maybe 7 points or 6 points on the weekend, and he was plus maybe 6. That's a pretty good weekend.
Yeah.
And that line, you know, Will Arquette in Bismarck, that's about as good as a game I've seen him play. He was just buzzing all over the ice. He was physical. He was crashing nets and doing everything that we expect him to do. So there's a lot of good stuff going on, and it's our depth that really, you know, we made a few changes there after the first period in Minot, and the lines really started clicking.
Yeah, it sure did. Well, that's why I say, you know, so to speak, fourth line. I almost feel like I should put it in air quotes, because, like you say, maybe on the sheet, but boy, scoring opportunities. And again, Reed with some big hockey games over the course of the last 2 to 3 weeks here too. Just accolades that can be spread all around. But then you come back home on Saturday night, And granted, playing at home is always an advantage, and it felt to me like Saturday night's game might have been the biggest test, simply because it was the third game. And a bit of a gut check, but boy, they didn't let off at all, and Bismarck came to play. Like, you expected them, and I think most people did. They generally are going to give you their best game, and they seem to play pretty well here at the Odie, but you come away with a 2-0 win, and a shutout, record-tying shutout, the 11th of the year for Jake Seibel, and again, a pretty solid game overall Saturday night, and against a team that was playing, like I said, I felt like Bismarck played, a pretty good game of hockey. You guys just defended it well and were opportunistic in when you had the opportunities to score. There they were. Yeah, your thoughts Saturday?
I just think the amount of energy that the team put in defensively in that game was something to look at, and obviously, you add in some of the big saves that Jake made, but it was kind of a slow first period. Nothing happening on either sides, but we didn't give anything up, which was good. And then I thought we came out in the second period and we were a whole different team again, and we kind of found our energy level that we needed. But these guys dug down in these 3 games, and again, Bismarck came out. They were physical. They were playing hard, and I think the hit Cullen Ferguson had there in that game really changed the game a little bit. And sometimes those type of plays they change the game, whether it's a hit or a fight, or but our guys really were motivated after that fight, and everything looked really clean on it when we review it. But it was just some really good things going on, and obviously to end it up in here at the Odie was great, and to be able to win the regular season NAHL championship here at home was great. I wish we could have celebrated a little more, but it seemed like there was a little confusion on the numbers from the league side, but at the end of the day we won that, and that's a great accomplishment for these guys.
Without a doubt. You mentioned it Saturday night, obviously, with a couple of huge hits, and obviously one of them was Ferguson's, and then that fight, a little bit of everything. Got a chance to see a late model on the ice, had a little bit of everything going on Saturday night. But as you mentioned, cap it off with the President's Trophy, with the best win percentage and record. Like you said, going into it, I think we knew that it was a win would seal the deal, but like you said, a little bit of a question perhaps with the league. But as of Saturday, the best record in the North American League for the 2020-2021 season, league champions. First time in franchise history. But have you ever won the Presidents before? Because in 2009, 2010 in Topeka, and 2010, 2011, which featured Michael Hill on your roster, you had some pretty darn good teams and good records there too. Did you win the Presidents?
Yeah, I was fortunate enough there in Topeka to win it. Mikey Hill was on that team. It was a lot of fun. It's such a hard accomplishment.
Yeah.
And you factor in this season with the way the schedules had changed midway through the season, and games canceled, and teams not playing the same amount of games as you, and they're playing a small schedule. So there's just a lot of stuff to be proud of, and to have such a long season, the longest season I've ever been a part of, and be able to come out on top with all the good hockey teams that are in this league it's a huge accomplishment for this franchise. I'm extremely proud of these players and proud of this organization for finding a way to win that NAHL championship.
Huge accomplishment indeed. And like you said, because there are some teams that are playing less or fewer games, that is why it came down to percentages more so than the total number of wins or points accrued and so on. So it got a little bit goofy. But like you said, it's been a long season, a lot of challenges. So maybe it makes it even a little bit more special in some senses. Talking about the long season, we're not even into the playoffs yet. But that's right around the corner. Of course, the Wings have clinched a playoff spot. None of the other teams in the Central yet have clinched, and we'll talk standings in a moment. But man, things are really getting shook up at the bottom of this division right now. St. Cloud overtaking Austin, and 1 point separating 3 teams at the bottom for fourth in the playoffs. But I wanted to talk a little bit about how long of a season it becomes, especially when you talk playoff or factor in playoff series. And then you come to the Robertson Cup Championship, and it's 1 game. And I know I've asked you about this before, but it's been a while, so I wanted to touch on this again. But why is that? Why isn't there a 3 of 5 or even 5 of 7 or whatever, like there is with the NHL or World Series or NBA or anything like that? Why is it just a one and done game in the North American League? And what are your thoughts on it?
Well, it's always been a topic of discussion. It comes up almost every year. I mean, I think it comes down to finances and length of that tournament. Honestly, it's probably not the right way to do it, but it's probably the only way to do it with our size league and how long we go and all the playoffs. And you'd hate to get to that game and not be successful, just having the one chance to beat your opposition. But it's tough to get there.
Yeah.
Especially our division, it's extremely tough to get out of our division and to win the 6 games you need to win to move on. But I guess I'm okay with it. I mean, because everybody has to play the same format. But I mean, obviously, you'd like to play a team in more of a series to kind of figure out who the better team is. But I don't think you're ever going to see that in our league, just with the amount of teams and how long the season is and the finances that put into an event of that size. Probably can't go much longer than the length it's already going.
I knew that, finances and having 4 teams there and putting them up, hotel-wise and meals and everything played into it, I guess. But it never really occurred to me that it is a matter of getting them in, getting those games played, and then getting people back home too. So interesting notes for some that have questioned that. Standings right now in the Central Division: Wings, of course, top of the division, top of the league, and have of course clinched the playoff spot. And the Central Division with 91 points, 50 games played. Bismarck with 57 points, 50 games played. Minot with 50 points, 49 games played. Those are your top 3. Then the Wilderness with 42 points, 47 games played. St. Cloud with 41 points and 48 games played. Austin with 41 points and 50 games played. So percentage-wise, St. Cloud overtakes Austin and are just 1 point back from the Wilderness, as Wilderness will be facing the Magicians and out-of-division team coming up, and of course the St. Cloud has the Aberdeen Wings coming their way. So things really getting interesting when it comes to the end of the year here. Maybe the very final week before Wings know who they'll face in the first round. But speaking of St. Cloud, that's the road trip that faces the Wings. Different venue, however. It'll be the Norsemen, but it's a road game essentially for them too. It's in Alexandria, Minnesota. You've obviously seen film and so on of the Norsemen and know this team and know that their talent level and so on. They're really kind of fighting for their playoff lives right now, as I just mentioned. What do you expect from the Norsemen this weekend?
I expect them to play extremely hard with a lot of passion. Their power play's clicking right now. They're scoring a lot of goals. They're scoring 5 a game here, and they're Corey's got them playing at the top of their game at the time that you need to play at the top of your game. So. Right. We're going to obviously go in there and give them our top game. We'll see what we do with our lineup here with guys being inserted and stuff. But playing in Alexandria, I guess, okay. It's just been one of those years, man. Playing in a neutral site at the end of the year. But, it's good for Jacob Stender, who grew up in Alexandria and went to school at the academy there in Alexandria, and he's going to get to play in front of his friends and his family. I think that's pretty neat situation. But, we don't know what to expect. We don't know our itinerary yet. We don't know what we're going to get. But we know we're headed to Alexandria, and it's a little closer than St. Cloud, so I think that's good.
Certainly is. It reminds me of. Doesn't matter. We'll play wherever, in front of Lincoln School, at the rink there, whatever, just outside, whatever. We'll play where we got to play just so we can play. But anyway, headed to Alexandria. Coach, that's all I've got. Thanks so much for taking some time again and talking with us a little bit. 3 games in 3 days in 3 cities, and you come away with three wins. That's pretty impressive, and like I said, a real testament, I think, to this team. So thanks so much for your time, and best of luck coming up against St. Cloud.
Thanks, Jay.
All right, folks, we'll continue on with the second portion of Wings Weekly with a player, as we usually do, coming up right after this.
How you move matters. Avera Orthopedics helps you move freely and live life to the fullest with innovative treatment options customized to your bone, muscle, and joint needs. Whether you suffer from aches, breaks, tears, or dislocations, turn to the orthopedic team experienced in treating everybody.
We continue on with our second portion of Wings Weekly, and as promised, a player is joining me, and at this time, it is Cullen Ferguson of Binbrook, Ontario, Canada. Thanks so much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
You bet. Well, Binbrook is a smaller community outside of Hamilton, correct?
Yes.
I gotta ask, is it Hamilton like the same Hamilton Mustangs of the movie Youngblood?
No, definitely not.
Okay.
Definitely not.
Dang, I was hoping that would be the case.
Yeah.
But a fairly small town. Talk to us a little bit, or tell me a little bit about your hometown. I mean, I wouldn't imagine, because Hamilton's pretty big. Like, that's a 500,000 people. You know, so you probably have access to a lot of things that you don't have here. But yet in Binbrook, still a smaller feel. Would that be accurate?
Yeah, no, definitely. Hamilton's a pretty big city, and then Binbrook's on the outskirts. So like, it's definitely more of a country town, very small. I'd say it's about 10,000, 15,000 people there. It's grown over the years since I moved there.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd say like I moved there when I was 4 years old, and I've grown up there ever since. And over the years, it's gotten a lot bigger. I back onto a farm, so me and my buddies always go out. We play soccer. We play baseball, football, everything out in that field there. So it's a nice little country, and I get the same kind of vibes here in Aberdeen.
Excellent. Well, very cool. I always start with guys, you know, like how you get your start in hockey. You know, when your earliest memories. When did you start skating? All that kind of stuff. I somehow feel like maybe being Canadian that it's not as much of a stretch of what your influences were or how you got into it, but. Walk us through that. When was it that you first started playing, and did you have anybody, maybe in your family or a family friend or whatever, that was kind of an influence?
Well, when I first started, my parents put me in to learn to skate, and I did the play on, it was the Wizard of Oz, and I was one of the poppies going out skating around, and that was just learn to skate. And then after, when it was done, I remember seeing all the hockey players going out, and I was telling my parents, I'm like, I want to do that. That looks way more
poppy stuff.
Yeah, I was like, I want to do that. Like, this looks way more fun. So then the next year, my dad was so excited to hear that. He's like, let's get him into hockey, because my dad loves the game. He loves the sport. And so yeah, they put me into hockey and just like never looked back. My dad like pushed me every day, and he. That's kind of how I grew the love for the game. I don't think he ever played any like high level, but he just loved the game when he played. I think he played for his high school team, and he just preached the game to me and taught me everything I know. So yeah.
Any brothers and sisters? I mean, sometimes I'm remiss in thanking or recognizing mothers, the role they have, because hockey moms. But I think oftentimes, without them, the wheels fall off, and things just don't. You don't get fed before practices. You don't get to places on time and all that kind of stuff. I feel like anyway, sometimes without that whole structure behind you, oftentimes it's a whole family that's is included in that support. So tell us a little about that. Do you have brothers and sisters that played or anything? Yeah,
well, I mean, I definitely like to touch on the fact that a lot of people say, it takes a village to raise a kid, and I honestly think it's taken a country to get me to where I am today. And I definitely have like a lot of respect for like all the people back home. And like you said, my brother, his name's Aiden, my mom and my dad, like they've played like a huge role in getting me to where I am today and like helping me succeed every day. Like you said, like my mom's always been there, and my dad like cheering me on. My dad like started coaching me at a young age, and back then I didn't know why exactly he was harping on me and telling me to do an extra rep, but like as you get older you start to understand those things.
Right.
They definitely push me so hard. They have that strong work ethic, which I think grew off, and now I've learned to like have the same work ethic, and I respect them and how hard they work, and I wanted to have that same work ethic. So yeah, they're a huge part as to why I've gotten here and how far I've gotten in my hockey career.
It's interesting because that's a common denominator, it seems like. When I talk to guys, that they always mention the work ethic and the fact that, Coach Langer talks about it as a team too. That's the along with the family atmosphere, work is one of the center pins or the hinge pins of this Wings organization. And I think for everybody in this locker room, you wouldn't be where you're at without that work ethic and putting that much into the dedication, and it doesn't come easy.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I think that's something that brings us all together. I think I've played hockey at a lot of different levels with a lot of different guys, and you see that every team has a couple, 1 or 2, maybe 3 guys that just don't have the drive. I think every single guy on this team has it and wants it. I think everybody wants to go home with a championship and a ring on their finger. I think that's something that brings us together. I think that's something that coach has preached day one for me walking through those doors. So I think that's why we're going to be successful in the long run. I have a lot of faith in the guys in this locker room and their work ethic, and that they got my back and I got theirs. Well,
you mentioned it, walking through or into the locker room, and how everybody's got that drive. You're one of the later additions to this team. How did you become a wing? And tell me a little about, like you said, coming into the locker room for the first time and being introduced to some of these guys. Hockey's a small world. It seems like oftentimes you might know somebody or have played against somebody or know somebody who knows somebody. It's not 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, but even fewer, like 3 probably when it comes to hockey, it seems like. But tell us a little about how you got here and what it was like the first time coming into this room.
Yeah, no, it was definitely a weird scenario how I got here. I started the year in British Columbia, the BCHL. In Cowichan with the Capitals, and I played with Will Arquette, who's also on this team. We played there. Things weren't looking good in terms of COVID. We only ended up playing 8 games at the beginning of the year, and then things just started to shut down slowly, and they got worse progressively. And then so as things got on, Christmas time came around, it looked like the BCHL wasn't going to start. Will had just recently gotten here, and I think January, and so I texted him and I said, it was literally just, I shot him a text message and I said, hey man, you guys need defense. Like, I'm trying to play games. I've only played 8 this year. Like, what do you need? Like, talk to your coach. Like, maybe like see if you can help me out. I want to come play for you guys. I know you guys are a great team and it looks like a great organization. And I think he texted me 2 days later. Like we really like you. Like, coach likes you. He's interested. He likes that you're physical, and we definitely need defense. So like, come on over. And the deadline for Canadians was in 2 days, so we had to get everything signed, done, paperwork within the 2 days, and I think it was the day of I finished off my final forms to get down here, and it was like after the deadline was when I finally got here. So I had to get all the paperwork signed within like 2 days. Make sure everything was legal and I could come here, and it was definitely a close call, but I got here and I'm happy I'm here now because part of a great organization and we're winning. So,
well, sometimes I feel like I ask the same questions to the guys every time I do these shows, but then I'm reminded of why I ask the same questions, because that is a pretty interesting take on how you got here and what led you here. That's pretty awesome. A Union College commit in Schenectady, New York. How did you get a chance to tour, go visit the Union at all, or how did you come about being committed there?
No, it was actually the whole process was completely new to me. I played in the BCHL last year, and I didn't talk to very many teams. This year, with COVID, we didn't have I knew we weren't going to get a lot of games. Things just weren't looking promising. So in the 8-game span I had, that's when I started talking to a few teams, and Union was one of the very first people to call me. The people there, the coaches there, super personable, connected with them right away. I never got to tour or anything like that. It was literally just through the connection I made with the coaches.
Sure.
I think when you go the college route and you go on to the next level, you start to see the business side of things.
Yeah.
Like they look at you more of a price tag than as a actual person. And I think I connected with Union, and they looked at me as like a person and a kid who wants to get an education, and they want to help me just as much as I want to help them succeed on the ice. So I felt that connection with them right away, and it was literally, I had one conversation with the coach and I was like, I'm sold. Like, I want to come here. This is somewhere I want to play. This is somewhere I want to further my education. So yeah.
My gut feeling, and sometimes, like you said, it's all about a connection. That's awesome. I want to talk a little bit about hobbies, things you do away from the ice. I know you talked about playing, with your friends, whether it be football, soccer, or whatever. Seems like it's pretty common for guys to have other sports that they're into. But do you do any like hunting or fishing or anything like that? Any other hobbies?
Not really. I used to play rugby. I used to play rugby back in high school. That was like the other sport that I really loved. And honestly, like, I had no idea anything about rugby. It's such a complicated sport, but all my buddies played it, and it was tough, physical. They said they loved it. My parents said, "You're crazy if you sign up," so signed up right away.
That was the motivating factor.
That was the motivating factor. So, and I ended up playing. Yeah, I played flank for Saltfleet, and we were a great team. And that was the one thing that I love to do. I also love working out. Being with the guys, talking. Just working hard at the same time. I work a lot in the off season, like working out and labor work. This year I worked on the sod farm with Steve Vanderveen and a couple other guys, and I had a great time. So yeah.
Excellent. All right, now I got to ask you about your style, because I've had a couple of players on that before that have said that by far and away you are the most stylish guy in the locker room, whether it's the hat and the pea coat or the what do you call them? Chuck tees? Yeah, Chuck tees.
Yeah.
The Converse canvas tennis shoes, all that kind of stuff. What motivates you, or where's that come from?
Yeah, no, I think it's just I want to like dress to impress like every day.
Yeah.
and honestly, I wouldn't say like I have the best style just because I'm wearing the same thing like every day. I've got like 5 pairs of pants, and they just all happen to be jeans. I talk to the guys here, and they're like, yeah, no one really wears jeans here. So, and I've got nothing but jeans, so I wear that with the Converse every day, and guys say it looks good. So, I mean, I'm flattered. I wouldn't say personally that I have the best style, but I mean, I'll take it.
I love that. It's all I've got, man. But it's true, because oftentimes you see guys are wearing sweatpants or warm-ups and stuff like that, and but you're and you know what? It's funny, and I'm going to throw a little personal note in, but when I was a kid, my dad would go out and mow the lawn or whatever, and he'd need something from the store, and he'd come in and comb his hair and change his shirt and stuff, and I'd be looking, Dad, you're just going to Kmart. Why do you need to get? And he'd always had the mentality that it's like you need to look put together when you're out in public and stuff.
I think you need to look professional. For sure,
it makes you feel good. You play good. You look, all that kind of stuff. I've always kind of, I guess, taken that message along, and I think it's a good one. Anyway, a couple of fun questions here before we get into the week to come and St. Cloud. Actually, before I get to there, how about a game day routine? What's a typical game day like? Obviously, on the road, everybody eats the same thing pretty much, and so on. But when you're at a home game, you're cooking for yourself or doing whatever. Most times, there's a nap involved. But what's your game day routine look like? Yeah, no, I'm
I'm very superstitious, and I have a lot of rituals. So usually on a game day, wake up, come to the rink, do our warm up, go out for game day skate. I like to get a couple reps in of everything, just get the hands loose. Then I usually come back. We go to Will Arquette, Davida, and Wasik's house for we all like chip in together and make breakfast. Unreal, so good. Then I usually go home. I chill out. I usually watch a couple hockey highlights, take a nice nap, wake up, and then like it's in the same order. Like I wake up, I go eat my chicken and rice that my billet mom makes for me. Come downstairs, throw on a little bit of spit and chiclets. I shower, get dressed in my peacoat, my hat, everything. Come to the rink. Usually listen to country music. Just keeps me calm, keeps me chill, reminds me of home. Mm-hmm. And then usually before the game, it's I got so many different things. I'm so superstitious.
Really? See, this is another example of why I ask these questions. Because every now and then, everybody this year pretty much has been like, no, I don't really have any superstitions. But then every now and then you get somebody that definitely has them, and these are always interesting to me. So let's go walk through these.
Yeah, no, I think hockey players are creatures of habit, and I think everything trains your. Like the reason I do it is because I think it trains your brain like that. Okay, like you're getting ready for a game. You do this every single time you have a game coming. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So it prepares my body that it's game day. Before a game, I got so many things. I usually got a cup of water that I'm filling up constantly to stay hydrated. I got my 2 bottles of Gatorade so that I'm replacing electrolytes in between periods. I'm trying to think of what else. I'm always taping my sticks, both my sticks. I always play sewer with the guys. That's a huge part of doing warm-ups, making sure I'm staying loose. I like to talk. You know, a lot of guys put their headphones in, but I think if you're talking to the guys, talking about the game, you stay loose.
Sure.
You know, you're not gripping the stick too tight during the game. So, yeah, I got so many things that I could go on forever.
That's awesome. I know, like I said, I've come across some guys that have some pretty peculiar superstitions in the past that kind of make you scratch your head, like not being in the same room as a goalie and all kinds of weird things that
you
I've
come
heard.
across some weird things.
A couple of quick questions here before we get to St. Cloud. Would you rather never be able to lie ever again, or be able, or have to believe everything you're ever told?
Oh my.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say believe everything I'm ever told. I'll be honest, I'm pretty gullible in the first place. Like so I already believe a lot of stuff that people tell, and I'm gonna say that you know, in the era that we're in with all the information we have and all the stuff that people are telling me, I'm gonna go with, you know, believing it. I'm gonna take their word for it.
Oh, man, that's a tough one.
It is.
Okay. If you could go back in history to a time, actually, we're not even going to go back. It could be now, but you can pull somebody from history at any point, any time. Maybe it's a historical figure, maybe it's an athlete, whomever. Who do you choose to sit down and have dinner with, and you can ask them all kinds of questions and just talk to them about whatever?
Yeah, no, that's a really good question. I think Michael Jordan for sure. I just watched the documentary too, The Last Dance, and he is just a different. He's just a different duck. Like his competitive level is on. It's beyond. Like you won't find something that matches it. And I think the way he takes everything personally, and he always wants to be better and be number one and be a winner. Like I want to have that kind of like oomph to my game and to like just everything in life. The guy would be losing his mind if it was over a game of pool. Yeah. So, and I just think that's cool. I think I would really want to pick his brain and get to know him and how he thinks that way. And yeah, I think that would be a good choice.
Some of the bets that I've heard about on the golf course are ridiculous.
Yeah, it's insane.
But you know, what was it? His Hall of Fame speech, I think, where he was even trash talking guys in his Hall of Fame speech, and you're just going, this guy can't shut it off. No. Like he does not know how to just play nice. He's always going to be going out. That's pretty cool. All right, St. Cloud coming up. Different venue for both teams. I mean, nobody's played in Alexandria. Of course, the Alexandria Blizzard played there, the NA3, but I don't know how much that changes or doesn't change things or whatever, but St. Cloud's fighting for their playoff life. What do you guys have to do to come away with some wins here this weekend?
You know, St. Cloud, they play a pretty structured game. I think they're going to be really hard. I think they're going to come hard. I think they got a lot on the line. So, and as the number one team, you always got to expect everyone's best game. Yeah. So we just got to play hard. We got to keep doing what we're doing. I think we got to rest. I think we got to take care of our bodies over this next week, and I think we got to come mentally prepared for the upcoming games. Don't take anyone lightly. Sure. I think we need to chip pucks deep. I think we need to work the cycle. Playing in the offensive zone is when we're playing our best. You know, you can't get scored on if you're playing in their zone the whole time. Right. So I think we just need to. I think we need to be relentless, and I think we need to constantly work the cycle on them. Get a lot of shots, pepper this goalie. Can't make him look good. We need good shots, quality shots. Take away his eyes. So yeah.
A lot to be done in a lot of games. Only 6 games left, but a lot to be accomplished still. As again, the Wings win the President's Trophy with the best record in the league. That has been clinched. Got for you though, Cullen. I appreciate you coming on, and a reminder to folks again that the Wings are on the road April 30th and May 1st at the St. Cloud Norsemen. 7:10 puck drop Friday and an 8:10 puck drop on Saturday. Watch the games at Buffalo Wings and Rings in Aberdeen by logging on to hockeytv.com, and hopefully that's going to work. Listen to 94.1 The Rock. That will work. The HubCityRadio.com website, or the Rock app on your mobile device, too. Those are other ways you can listen to the audio. Important upcoming dates. Final regular season home games will be against Minot May 14th and 15th. Parents Weekend May 14th and 15th as well. And then the awards banquet coming up on the 16th. Buy your tickets now at AberdeenWings.com. Ticket sales end on Monday, May 10th. First round of the home playoff games are Friday and Saturday, May 21st and 22nd. More information on tickets for the playoffs will be available soon. Corporate night sponsorships are still available for home games throughout the 2020-2021 season and playoffs. Call Aaron at 605-380-5852 for more information. Don't forget, Wings Weekly is now on podcast. Find the audio for this season's episodes on Spotify, Stitcher, or iHeartRadio. And all the latest news and information is available at AberdeenWings.com, or follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and on Instagram. Once again, Cullen Ferguson, thanks so much for coming on. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. It was awesome.
You bet. That'll wrap up this week's Wings Weekly.